So I don't know if you guys saw this, but the dictionary, Merriam-Webster's Dictionary, is the latest in the string of let's just erase women in America, apparently, in the 2020s, because they actually went so far as to change the definition of both girl and female to basically just mean anyone who identifies as the opposite of a male. Anyway, I don't know about you guys, but I just think this is so pathetic, the continuation of trying to erase women so systematically in society.
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So I wanted to talk about something I came across on X involving the Merriam-Webster Dictionary. Turns out they're blocking people for telling them the correct definition of a woman. So Sall Grover, over in Australia, who is currently embroiled in a legal battle to save women's spaces over there, a case that not only is going to affect Australia, but potentially other Commonwealth countries, and it actually will send a message to the rest of the world.
Now the battle for common sense is becoming a legal one. This week, the federal court heard initial proceedings in a human rights claim brought against Sall Grover, stupid stuff. And as a result of it, the fight to protect women's only spaces is ramping up. Now the battle for common sense is becoming a legal one. This week, the federal court heard initial proceedings in a human rights claim brought against Sall Grover. She's the founder and CEO of Giggle, a female social networking app. Joining me now to discuss it is the CEO of Women's Forum Australia, Rachel Wong. Rachel, welcome to Bernardi. For those who aren't familiar with this case, can you explain what's happened here?
Hi Corey. So basically we have a man named Roxy Tickle who has brought a human rights claim against Sall for refusing to let him use her female-only networking app Giggle. Now he has claimed that she has discriminated against him on the basis of his gender identity, where in fact she's excluded him on the basis of his sex. Both of these are protected attributes under the Sex Discrimination Act, so you can see we have a clear collision of rights between women and those who claim gender identity.
Yeah, I just got to say, this strikes me as completely absurd, that simply because a bloke says, I am now identifying as a woman, you can be put into a woman's prison instead of a man's prison. And now they want to invade safe spaces for women. The reason you've got a woman-only app is because they want to get away from predatory men and a whole bunch of other terrible things. Maybe just talk about stuff that women only want to talk about. Why do these blokes have to try and invade these safe spaces?
Look, I completely agree with you. It is absurd, and to any reasonable person, this would be seen for what it is: intimidation and harassment, a male trying to access a woman-only space. And we've seen this all over Australia, we've seen it all over the world when it comes to places like prisons, like hospital wards, like refuges, and we've seen countless stories of harm now, ranging from women being sexually assaulted, to women being excluded from their own sports, to women facing human rights claims, loss of employment and abuse for saying that men cannot be women.
Sall's case is a very important case that seeks to ensure that the courts define what a woman is, that seeks to ensure that the courts recognise that some spaces are for females only. So she created an app for women only, and a man who identifies as trans, Roxanne Tickle, felt a sense of entitlement to be allowed onto the app, despite being male. And when this person was denied, they decided to seek legal action and essentially cause a lot of stress for a woman who was in her third trimester of pregnancy, simply because she wanted a space for women only. Now it's about time that Australia recognises what the true definition of a woman is: an adult human female, very simple. And what they're doing in various countries in the West, especially here in the US, is they're trying to force people to accept a new definition of a woman, to accept that men can be women. And what's even more disturbing, there are some things that need to be rooted in fact. And one of those things is the dictionary. Of all the things to go woke, the dictionary was the last thing I expected to hear about going woke. But some dictionary publications have changed their definition of a woman, or shall we say, expanded their definition of a woman to include men. Now, when you look up the definition of a woman in the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, for example, you will see identity in there. So if you identify as a woman, that can also be included. And what's more disturbing, it's not even the word woman, it's the word female, which is a word rooted in scientific fact. It's non-negotiable, but the dictionary have decided to change the definition. So the regular definition, female, of relating to or being the sex that typically has the capacity to bear young or produce eggs. B, having a gender identity that is the opposite of male. So how did a bunch of people get blocked by the dictionary on X? Well, they posted a question, Merriam-Webster Dictionary, on their X account. They posted a question asking people what hill are they willing to die on when it comes to grammar and words. So in a post that has since been deleted, this is what they said. What's the word / grammar hill you are absolutely dying on? That was the tweet. Open for discussion. Now, it started off badly from the onset because somebody decided to correct their grammar. Public flogging of English language reference publishers who end sentences in prepositions. And somebody rephrased the question to correct their grammar. What's the word / grammar hill on which you are absolutely dying? And they responded, it seemed like they're quite sensitive to begin with. Do you think that makes it clearer? And then they posted some sarcastic GIF with the guy, taking notes. What they really need to take note of is a definition of female. So I gather a lot of people are aware of the changes they made to certain words, such as female, and they started addressing their question, answering very honestly and saying that the definition of a woman is a hill on which they are dying. So internationalwomensforum.org said the Merriam-Webster has long defined a woman as an adult female person. This definition is accurate, but it begs the question, what exactly is a female? The dictionary, which refers to itself as America's most trusted authority on the English language, first defines that word to mean of relating to or being the sex that typically has the capacity to bear young or produce eggs. But in 2020, Merriam-Webster added an additional definition of female to its website, having a gender identity that is opposite of male. So they walked right into this. They've got no one to blame but themselves. The hill that says this definition of female means I won't be using your particular dictionary anytime soon. Woman, noun, adult, human, female. And people responded with the same definition, reminding them of the correct definition. And apparently a lot of these people have since been blocked. They have been blocked for simply stating the correct definition of female and not rejigging it or adding anything to it. What was so offensive about that you need to block people for stating the definition of female? None of these people were using profanity, calling them stupid, calling them idiots. They were simply answering their question. And it wasn't just the Merriam-Webster. The Merriam-Webster was in 2020 when they changed the definition. And then the Cambridge Dictionary also changed their definition in 2022.
This is the Cambridge Dictionary, which has redefined its definition of woman as beyond adult female human being, which it formerly was. It's now an adult who lives and identifies as female, though they may have been said to have a different sex at birth.
Constantly being asked to trust the science, yet we get this weak-kneed, feeble-minded inability to deal with basic biology. Well, it's just gotten worse. The esteemed Cambridge Dictionary, linked of course to Cambridge University, has defined woman in a straightforward manner as an adult human female. Fair enough, we might add that a female is the sex that can bear offspring or produce eggs. Human females have a vagina rather than the penis of a male. Human females have 2 X chromosomes, whereas a male has an X and a Y. I think you know the pack drill. But now the Cambridge Dictionary has added an additional element to their definition of woman. It says a woman is also an adult who lives and identifies as female, though they may have been said to have a different sex at birth. Where do you start with this? Identifies as female? No, you do not change your sex by identifying. Reality does not change through preference or pretense. You might make choices and we might respect them, that's fine. That's just good manners and tolerance. But it doesn't alter reality. We can't ignore the facts of biology to fit our pretense. And likewise, what about the woolly wording may have been said to have had a different sex at birth? What sort of unscientific and delusional dictionary definition is that?
So my advice to you is, if you have an old dictionary at home, hold on to it like it's more precious than rubies, than gold. Because these days, you can't trust anything that's even slightly modern. Absolutely ridiculous. We can't even trust the dictionary anymore.
I'm very against gender identity being in law anyway, for a few reasons. One, I don't think the state should ever have a role in your personal identity of yourself. Two, gender identity really only has any sort of role to play in law if it is trying to override sex-based rights. Also freedom of belief and freedom of speech. And frankly, there's no actual definition for what gender identity actually is. No one agrees on a definition for it. And any definition that does get put into legislation is so vague and it makes no sense. The definitions are always basically gender identity is gender identity. And the only thing we do know about it is gender identity is a cover for autogynephilia. So you're essentially just putting a male sexual fetish into law and making it a protected characteristic. So I just think I'm completely against it. I think it's so dangerous. And I'm working hard in Australia to try and get gender identity removed from our laws.
So Sal said, I've been blocked by the dictionary for saying a woman is an adult human female. The dictionary. You just can't make this up. You really can't. And yes, they soon deleted the post because apparently they couldn't handle people telling them the truth. They couldn't handle people giving them the proper definition of a woman or a female when they're the ones who are supposed to know that, since they're the dictionary. And people started posting screenshots showing that they too were blocked. Billy Bragg? No way. The blue-haired intern has clearly taken over their social media. It does sound like it's someone who can't handle a little bit of criticism. And Billy got blocked too. And this is what she tweeted. This is what got her blocked. Woman equals adult human female, and no amount of drugs, surgery, or skirts that go spinny will change that. And that's what ended up getting her blocked. People are asking them, why did you delete the post? Since checking their page, it's as if it never happened. They're not addressing it. They didn't bring it up ever again. No, how dare you? You know fully well that speaking the truth and saying that a woman is an adult human female is a no-no. And the cowards have closed replies. Didn't quite go the way they planned. That is very concerning that identity has been given so much weight in recent years that you can identify as whatever you want to the point where it's even written in the dictionary and included in definitions now. And it's simply not rooted in reality. If we're going to start saying that identity comes before biology, identity comes before fact, it's making words meaningless. That's where things are heading. And it's very concerning that we can't even open a dictionary and not see wokery. Dictionaries aren't supposed to be subjective. Definitions are supposed to be definitions. Yes, definitions can change and evolve over time. But when it comes to something that is rooted in scientific fact, we all know what a woman is. We all know the chromosomes of a woman and a man. We all know the sex organs that each possess. That's not going to change. So the definition doesn't change. But even the dictionary, the one source of information that we thought was not subjective. But clearly even that isn't safe. So please, go to your grandma's house, go to your parents' house, get an old physical dictionary and hold on to it for dear life. Here's one from 1981. If you find something like this, you keep it. So we know where to refer to see a sane, accurate definition based on fact. Not based on feelings or how you want to identify. Even if you want to identify in a certain way, people are free to do that. But that doesn't mean that that now needs to be treated as fact, treated as reality. We can respect people's expressions, how they choose to express themselves, but that doesn't mean that we now need to start changing dictionary definitions, even changing the science to accommodate different identities. Otherwise, where does it stop? And so far, it looks like it's not going to. Even when you correct the dictionary, you get blocked. Even women who know who they are, who know what a woman is, simply stating that is offensive these days. So Merriam-Webster Dictionary, I thought it was utter cowardice to block people simply stating fact, to block people simply speaking the truth and answering the question that you posted. So this is not a credible source of information as far as I'm concerned. I will not be referring to their definitions anymore because they've lost their minds. They've lost their minds. So if you've been blocked by them, consider it a badge of honor. You've been blocked by the dictionary for correcting the dictionary. But let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Like, comment and subscribe. Take care of yourselves and God willing, I will see you in the next video.
Thank you.